It's the 12th day of December, 13 days to Christmas, and the national grid has collapsed 12 times already in 2024, according to reports that reached us, that on Wednesday, the grid collapsed and was announced by the official national grid handle on X. I guess that's not a surprise at this time. I think it's something that we're getting used to, unfortunately. But we'll be talking about other stories this morning on Breakfast Central. I'm Olive Emodi, and you're very welcome to the show.
And I'm Joe Hansen, welcoming you to this day's edition. Most importantly, as we look into some of the biggest stories, the grid collapse is one, and there's still ripples of what took place in Edo State 48 hours ago. It's still being talked about in different parts of the country. More importantly, we do hear, although it's alleged that the staff who works for the National Broadcasting Television was indeed apprehended and told why he needs to explain the reason why it was being streamed live. Well, these are just statements made at different quarters, but we do know what the situation really is. Aside that, there's so many stories. You wonder why the automated teller machine, ATM, is not dispensing cash in different parts of Lagos and also different parts of the country, but the POS, they do have cash with them. And I'm talking about Mint. They have cash. So you're wondering, how is that possible? The banks, the ATMs are not working. They're not in operation, Olive. But you do have the POS operators who have cash readily available. And I had to get cash from them yesterday, and it was Mint. And I was like, okay, why is it that I tried the ATM some few minutes ago, especially on the island, and anywhere I go twice. In short, one of the banks, I was approaching the ATM, I had to park. As soon as I came down, I was about, and the security operator told me, Oga, no, it's not working. I'm like, again? He said yes, but not too far off, you have the POS operator just a few meters away from the bank, and she's there readily, steady, with cash in hand. And I'm like, okay. So this is a conversation that Nigerians really need to have. We do understand that the CBN governor, Olayemi Cardoso, had already sent out a communique to banks urging them to ensure that there is more than enough cash in all the automated teller machines.
And it's not even just that. There was even
there's no response.
There was even a call that asked people to report banks that refused to give citizens naira.
Yeah.
Now, this is not the first time. First of all, it's become routine. And I don't know how we even got here, where once it gets to the end of the year, a few things start to occur. There's power outage, there's fuel scarcity, and then there's cash crunch. The cash crunch problem, I think, started officially when they started talking about redesigning the naira, and then there was a deadline as to when the expiration of the old notes could be used as legal tender.
Yeah.
And then we saw, we had the conversation on this show many times. We even spoke with experts asking them then if it was going to be a problem, and the experts who thought, oh, this won't be a problem. Especially because this is not the first time that this had happened. It had happened before, whilst President Muhammadu Buhari was in office, not just this last time, but in the 80s, I believe.
Yes, that, like they say, 80s and recently reminiscent of.
So I really don't understand why we keep having this cash scarcity. I know there's more demand for cash now because there are lots of foreign nationals and Nigerians in the diaspora who are returning and need dollar for naira. On the other,
Naira has gone back to bed.
That's what I want. I heard. But
what's the lesson there?
So I haven't double-checked that, so I can't categorically say, because somebody had reported saying no, that it closed at 1,005 at the parallel market, and that might not be a correct representation. But whatever the case may be, I guess it doesn't come as a surprise to see that right now, there might be cash troubles. But I hope that this is something we don't have to deal with again this Christmas, this end of the year. But back to the national grid conversation, it's become very much embarrassing why Nigerians have gotten to a stage where national grid collapse has become expected. Yesterday afternoon, I think before the grid actually collapsed, someone had tweeted, national grid hasn't collapsed, what happened? And then barely, a few hours after he put out that tweet,
too soon.
People responded to him saying, oh, you spoke too soon. The grid has collapsed again. And how we keep having these conversations over and over again, it feels like we are doing rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. The calls have begun again. People have started to say that in Sena climbs, by now would have had a replacement with the Minister of Power. Previous administrations have promised promised to guarantee a steady power, but till today, we haven't been able to achieve that. The one thing that politicians and leaders would know is that if an administration comes, and I said it thousands of times on this show, if there's an administration that comes into office, and even if the only problem that they can solve is Nigeria's power problem, they will not need to canvass too much to ask people to vote them for a second term. Because, like we say here, the workings are available. Like, people can see that they show workings. So if there's an administration that can come and solve Nigeria's power problem, if that is all that they do, it's a ripple effect. It's not just about people's comforts, people's businesses, you know. The businesses, they will then spend less on gas or fuel, and that will in turn reduce the cost of certain goods and services and will in a way improve the quality of life. It would also encourage investors. You know how many people have packed up shop because they calculate how much they're spending every month in power and how much revenue they're making, and it's just the shit is not balancing up properly. So if there's any administration that can come in and fix Nigeria's power sector, they will not need to canvass for votes.
But don't forget, we did have a guest yesterday who said what we hear is mere noise. There was an agreement that was signed as soon as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu got into power, and he did come up to say, oh, they've signed a deal, of course, with the German, in quotes, company. And prior to signing that deal with the German company, former President Muhammadu Buhari also signed the same deal with that same company. Yet, the deal was tailored towards ensuring that Nigerians would continue to have power, uninterrupted supply. But till now, despite the fact that that deal has been signed, we're not seeing any improvement. I'm also going to cut the Minister of Power. I'm going to cut him some slack, and I'll be honest, and I'll tell you why I'll do that. I'll do that because many a times people have said that the issue is not really in the supply of power. It's actually in the fact that some of these equipment that we use, and some of them have been as old since Nigeria's independence. Some of them need to be changed. Some of them needs to be overhauled. He also came out to say it will cost about XYZ amount or trillion naira that would help to revamp the entire power sector. But then again, let's not just say that that will be the only solution to the problem, because even as we speak now, the Gencos are owing. And there's a story that says that blackout looms, especially for those who are looking forward to celebrate Christmas and New Year, that you would have to face blackout because the Gencos have failed to pay for gas. So the gas suppliers and producers are saying that they've not paid their 2 trillion naira debt, hence they will shut down gas supply to the Gencos. What does that mean? Even if power is restored today, tomorrow, there's still another battle at the front, which Nigerians would have to get ready to face.
Well, the problem with Nigeria's power sector is not one that started today. It's one that, you know, has been there for a very long time. But again, I probably don't agree with saying that you can't cut the Minister of Power. It's like he knew what he was getting into. The problems that Nigeria's power sector has today did not begin today. They were there before him. And they will continue to be there if he does nothing about it. Which is why I would always say that we need to go back to the way that we screen ministers. We need to ensure that during the screening process, everybody knows what portfolio they are being screened for. So that if you cannot accept, if you can't deliver, you know that, okay, this portfolio, it passed my power. And then you can respectfully decline the nomination. So anyway, we'll talk more about this much later, but let us know how the power grid has affected you in your area. You know, it's 1 shutdown per month, so 12 for the month of, for the year 2024, meaning 1 per month. And, you know, there's no guarantee that it will not collapse again before the year ends. Let's share with you what the top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central. Outrage in Okwama as second community leader dies in custody. You recall the Okwama incidents. We'll be talking about it this morning. Justice for Folakemi, New Central reveals true story in rape case. A heart-wrenching and, you know, very heartbreaking story it is. Bank workers blame CBN for cash shortage. And the ECOWAS Security Council to unite to fight terrorism in Africa. And away from that, as usual, we will review the newspaper front pages, asking you to join us when we open the phone lines. All these and more on Breakfast Central.
You're watching News Central Television. This is headlines here on Breakfast Central. Let's start off first in the capital, Abuja, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed ECOWAS's commitment to the welfare of citizens in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, while prioritizing diplomacy to reintegrate the nations into the Commission. During a state visit with German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier in Abuja, President Tinubu acknowledged delays in transition programs from the three nations, but emphasized ECOWAS's stance against unconstitutional governments. He assured that diplomatic efforts would continue to avoid punishing innocent citizens while maintaining free trade and movement. Let's move on now to another story and tell you that Dangote Refinery and Neptune Oil have announced the first export of premium motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, from Dangote Refinery, Africa's largest oil refinery, to Cameroon. This milestone, achieved through a strategic collaboration between the two companies, highlights their commitment to fostering stronger economic ties between Nigeria and Cameroon while addressing the region's growing energy demands. Aliko Dangote, president and CEO of Dangote Group, says the first export of PMS to Cameroon is a tangible demonstration of the vision for united and energy independent Africa. Let's go straight now to Kano State up north and tell you that the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has expressed the Emirates' confusion over last week's blockade of the Gidan Rumfa Palace by security operatives. The Emir said there has been no official communication regarding the reasons for the action. Speaking on Wednesday while receiving a delegation from Bichi, who came to express gratitude for the appointment of their new district head, Munir Sanusi, the Emir described the incident as a distraction that would not hinder the Emirates' activities. Let's head now to Delta State, where Okwama community in Delta State is said to be mourning yet again, following the reported death of its 81-year-old treasurer, Dennis Okubaye, in military detention, just days after the President General Pa James Ogoroko died under similar circumstances. Though News Central Television cannot independently verify these claims, but it understood that both were among several leaders detained after the killing of 17 soldiers during a peace mission on March 14. The military's response left Okwama devastated, forcing residents into a displacement camp. We now head to the courts. The Federal Capital Territory's High Court in Abuja issued an order of interim injunction prohibiting Lagos-based lawyer Dele Farotimi from publishing, selling, distributing, or advertising the book Nigeria and Its Criminal Justice System in hard copy, digital, or even soft copy. After hearing the claimant's ex parte plea by senior advocate of Nigeria, Kehinde Ogunbiju, managing partner of Afe Babalola's legal practice, Justice Peter Kekemeke issued the order. Additionally, the judge temporarily barred the agents, publishers, distributors, sellers, republishers, resellers, and any other individual as described. Well, let's close the curtain as we head straight to Ghana, where President-elect John Dramani Mahama and Vice President-elect Professor Nana Jane Okpuku Agemang met outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo at Jubilee House on Wednesday to begin the power transition process. The meeting followed Akufo-Addo's formal invitation, reaffirming his commitment to smooth handover as Mahama prepares to take office on January 7, 2025. And that's all the breakfast headlines for you this morning. We do have a lot to talk about here on Breakfast Central, especially looking at our top stories. Why don't you stay with us? Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
The immediate past Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ovie Omoagege, has berated successive PDP-led governments in Delta State, saying that there has not been serious governance in the state since Chief James Onanefe Ibori left office in 2007. Omoagege decried the underdevelopment of the oil-rich Niger Delta State despite the huge revenue that has accrued from the Federation account as a result of the 13% derivation and the internally generated revenue, which he said has not been translated to the infrastructural and economic development of the state. The Delta APC leader stated this on Tuesday at Owara, Ethiopia West local government area of the state, where he officially welcomed Eriatake Ibori Suenu and her supporters, including former top PDP leaders who defected to the APC. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu, who was there, now files in this report.
Owara, Delta State, South Nigeria, often be referred to as the political mecca of Delta politics, is agog as APC national leaders and states all converged on the Owara Township Stadium to welcome Eriatake Ibori Suenu, member representing Itop Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, who defected alongside her supporters, including former top PDP leaders from the PDP to APC of the ruling party in Nigeria. First, the APC state acting chairman welcomes her into the party with the party's symbols.
With the people that have debated with you today, on behalf of the party, I receive all of you to the party. I receive you by giving you the symbol of our party, the broom.
Ibori Suenu, who spoke alongside other DCMPs, said they have found lights in APC.
They tried to dull my shine. They tried to oppress me. I'm the daughter of a lion. Nobody can oppress me. Nobody can push me down. Nobody can hold me. Nobody. They don't have done them. The whole of Itop Federal, my leader, I can tell you, is APC now.
The immediate past Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ovie Omoagege, who represented the APC National Chairman, welcomed her into the party. Thereafter, took a sweep at the performance of the State Governor, Sheriff Oborewori, since he assumed office 2023.
In the last 1 year and a half, Delta State, by way of fact, we have received 750 billion. 1.5 years only.
This morning. Good morning to you, Austin.
Good morning, Joe.
All right. Okay, Austin, quickly bring us up to speed with what the latest is. The second person we do hear allegedly dying in the custody of the Nigerian army. What's the latest story around that death, being that we've seen the first one and this is another one?
The last time we reported, the leadership of Okwama community do alleged that the Okubaye in question, the aged treasurer, was actually bedwetting, and they called for his immediate release for him to reunite with his family so that he can get medical attention. A few days thereafter, his allegedly death filtered into the air, and that has actually thrown the community into coma. As we speak at the moment, the community is quite silent, and even those at the IDP camp are quite silent, and they seem to be mourning the death of their patriot. They believed that if the military have yielded to the demand and the clarion call they made to the federal government and told themselves Okubaye wouldn't have been a dead man by now. So the atmosphere is quite moody. We spoke to a couple of them some time ago, a few minutes ago and a few hours ago, and they keep appealing to the federal government that the federal government should prevail on the Nigerian military to release those other people in detention. However, that two of their aged leaders that have been, died in captivity has not met well for them, because they believe quite well that these aged leaders that they arrested were quite innocent of the crime that they alleged them to have committed. And how can an old man of 81 years go to the war? And not only that too, how can old man who perceived to be their president lead other people to go and kill the military? That the military didn't do proper investigation before arresting those men that they kept in detention. The atmosphere around the Kwama community and those in the IDP camp seems to be in a sorrowful state, and they are only appealing to the federal government and states to prevail on the Nigerian military so that they will be able to release their men, their kinsmen, to reunite with them. But however, now that their kinsman has been, no longer alive, what will become of their next demands?
Wow, this is a really sad update and the reality of the Okwama community. And thank you, Austin, for following up with that story. Do we have any statement yet or any moves from the government officially in this regard?
The last time the senior special advisor to the governor on peace building met with the Okwama people, they had a closed-door section whereby the government official and the state governor precisely commiserated with the family of the first person that died, and there was an assurance that the state government would not leave them alone. Definitely that the state government will meet them and be able to facilitate the release of other persons. But how far they have gone, which we don't know, but I believe the special advisor will be able to throw more light on the effort made so far by the Governor Borewori-led administration. Don't forget to that since the return of Okwama residents back to Okwama community and those to the IDP camp, there is huge assurance from the state government to rebuild the Okwama, and of course the rebuilding process to some extent has started. But from what we gathered so far, the rebuilding process has been stalled because of some, I can't really explain, because the health center and the primary school and the town hall that the government promised to build for them is still at the foundation level. So we don't know how far they have gone. However, maybe the special advisor will throw more light on the rebuilding process in the Okwama community. But of course, you know quite well that these people seems not to be happy anymore, because from their last protest, they actually, vet their angers that if something is not done about it, it means that they will take the laws into their hands. But the leaders of the communities are still prevailing on the youths in the community not to take the laws into their hands, but rather they should toe the path of peace and appeal to the federal government, the state government, to prevail so that peace and normalcy will return to Okwama community.
All right. Austin, as quickly as you can, please, I need you to help us clarify this story that we're seeing, or this update about the army allegedly extorting the family members of those who are in detention. Have you heard anything about that, and can you speak to it?
All right. Okay, Austin, quickly bring us up to speed with what the latest is. The second person we do hear allegedly dying in the custody of the Nigerian army. What's the latest story around that death, being that we've seen the first one, and this is another one?
The last time we reported, the leadership of Okwama community do alleged that the Okubaye in question, the aged treasurer, was actually bedwetting, and they called for his immediate release for him to reunite with his family so that he can get medical attention. A few days thereafter, his allegedly death filtered into the air, and that has actually thrown the community into coma. As we speak at the moment, the community is quite silent, and even those at the IDP camp are quite silent, and they seem to be mourning the death of their patriot. They believed that if the military have yielded to the demand and the clarion call they made to the federal government and told themselves, Okubaye wouldn't have been a dead man by now. So the atmosphere is quite moody. We spoke to a couple of them some time ago, a few minutes ago and a few hours ago, and they keep appealing to the federal government that the federal government should prevail on the Nigerian military to release those other people in detention. However, that two of their aged leaders that have been, died in captivity has not met well for them, because they believe quite well that these aged leaders that they arrested were quite innocent of the crime that they alleged them to have committed. And how can an old man of 81 years go to the war? And not only that too, how can an old man who perceived to be their president lead other people to go and kill the military? that the military didn't do proper investigation before arresting those men that they kept in detention. The atmosphere around the Okwama community and those in the IDP camp seems to be in a sorrowful state, and they are only appealing to the federal government and states to prevail on the Nigerian military so that they will be able to release their men, their kinsmen, to reunite with them. But however, now that their kinsman has been, no longer alive, what will become of their next demands?
Wow, this is a really sad update and the reality of the Okwama community. And thank you, Austin, for following up with that story. Do we have any statement yet or any moves from the government officially in this regard?
The last time the senior special advisor to the governor on peace building met with the Okwama people, they had a closed-door section whereby the government official and the state governor precisely commiserated with the family of the first person that died, and there was an assurance that the state government would not leave them alone. Definitely that the state government will meet them and be able to facilitate the release of other persons. But how far they have gone, which we don't know, but I believe the special advisor will be able to throw more light on the effort made so far by the Governor Borewori-led administration. Don't forget too that since the return of Okwama residents back to Okwama community and those to the IDP camp, there is huge assurance from the state government to rebuild the Okwama, and of course the rebuilding process to some extent has started. But from what we gather so far, the rebuilding process has been stalled because of some, I can't really explain, because the health center and the primary school and the town hall that the government promised to build for them is still at the foundation level. So we don't know how far they have gone. However, maybe the special advisor will throw more light on the rebuilding process in the Okwama community. But of course, you know quite well that these people seems not to be happy anymore, because from their last protest, they actually, vet their angers that if something is not done about it, it means that they will take the laws into their hands. But the leaders of the communities are still prevailing on the youths in the community not to take the laws into their hands, but rather they should toe the path of peace and appeal to the federal government, the state government, to prevail so that peace and normalcy will return to Okwama community.
All right. Austin, as quickly as you can, please, I need you to help us clarify this story that we're seeing, or this update about the army allegedly extorting the family members of those who are in detention. Have you heard anything about that, and can you speak to it?
Anyway,
right.
I think we seem to have a challenge with the connection right now. Anyway, let's bring in our guest very quickly. We have joining us a lawyer to Okwama Community, Chief Akpokona Omafere joins us now. And also on the line, I'm told we do have a special advisor to the Delta State Governor on peace building and conflict resolution. Mr. Edwin Uzo also joins us this morning. I'm going to start first with Mr. Edwin Uzo, please. I'd like to get your take and the feedback on what the current situation really is. Ever since this incident did take place, has there been any form of resolution? And can you confirm to us that truly the second death was actually in the army custody?
Yeah, thank you very much. On the issue of the second death, we're yet to confirm that. The first death was reported, and as a government, we went to the family, we paid a condolence visit, and gave them the assurance of government that government will be by them. And since then, and up to now, government is on it to ensure that the remaining people are being released.
When you say the remaining people, how many people are we talking about here?
About 5 people.
Sorry?
About five
Okay.
people.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's now bring in our lawyer, Chief Akpokona Omafere. Please talk to us about, there have been several stories and stories swirling around when the Okwama community comes up. And one of them is the allegation about the army allegedly using this as an opportunity to extort the family members of those who are still held in detention. Can you confirm if that is true or not? And then give us some backstory as to, the current situation now.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. The issue is not really the army extorting the family. When these people were arrested in August, they were taken to unknown destination. Then, I think from around October, some persons some of the family members started getting linked to one or two persons taking care of the arrested persons. So from that link, the late Ogoroko, the late PG family, it's like they have a connection to somebody within the military that is taking care of their father. Same thing with that of Okubaye. So these persons, after the death of Ogoroko on Wednesday last week, they reached out to the family of Okubaye that the man was in terrible state and he is on diapers and all that. His health is so bad. That's when the community even cried out after Pa James died that, look, we heard that Dennis Okubaye is also in a terrible state. Please, they should release him. Now, the person who was taking care of the man till he died on Tuesday, or between on Monday and Tuesday, they needed some funds to take care of the man, maybe to see if they can change his, if his situation can change. That was the money that was sent between that Monday and that Tuesday. It's not the army extorting the family also.
That's a tough one, though. Anyway, let me come back to the special advisor. We did have another representative to the governor who joined us here live on the show, and there were conversations around ensuring that the community would be restored, the residents would actually have their homes back, but we do hear that they are still in the camp. There was also a report filed by a reporter who joined us earlier on, where those in the camp were complaining that the life they're living is not what they thought would continue. Can you share with us why it's taken so long for the governor to step in and ensure that there is a resolution, any mediation, and how long will it take for this community to remain the same way they are?
Okay, thank you very much. You can understand with me that problems come one day, destruction has been made, and it will take some time to get that place reactivated and done. The promise the government made, they are made. The government is rebuilding the primary school, rebuilding the secondary school, rebuilding the health center and the town hall, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Also, the ID camp is well equipped. The people in the ID camp, I don't think they're complaining. They have to be patient till a time when those rehabilitation will be completed, and they'll go back to their communities.
Chief Amafuaire, do you agree that the people in the IDP camp, can see the efforts that has been made and they're not complaining?
No, somebody that is in a camp, there's no way you can compare living in the camp and living in your own house. Reasonably, I can say that the camp leadership led by my brother, Chief Ogbodo, I think they have tried. I can say that. They have used even their connections to get NDDC and other people to bring in relief material to the people. It's just that most of the people, they really want to go back to their home. I want to talk a bit about the projects that have been executed. The primary school, the health center, and the community town hall. I can tell you that the governor person is here. They should, after this meeting, they should go to Okwama and see for themselves the state of those programs. They are not meeting specification. Like the town hall, for instance, the size that was supposed to be built that is what they measured. What they are building is not up to that size. The primary school foundation, that ought to be, maybe you dig a very good foundation. They are not doing that. Even the community people, I was in the community on Sunday, they are angry that why should they be doing this kind of shoddy job and nobody is asking the question. So please use this opportunity, tell them to go back to see whether the project they are executing meets what our governor wants them to execute for the people.
Okay, so Mr. Ozo, that's a call. That's a call made right now to you and also to the governor. Since you are representing the governor here live, can you answer to that? Because we're hearing now, I mean, from the mouth of Mr. Pokona that it's not up to standard. Can you share with us why that is so?
Well, you cannot authoritatively say that because you don't know the BOQ that was approved, and also you cannot expect, all your expectations can never be met. Take note of that. The government is doing its best, the contractors are working, but based on what he has just raised, we will advise the department in charge to visit the place again to see actually what is happening there. But I can assure you that the job is going on. Okay,
I'll bring Chief back into the conversation and ask, when the people of Okwama are spoken with, those who are in the internally displaced persons camp, what are their major demands right now? I know that returning to their homes is top of mind, but what are the other demands? What will justice look like in this situation for them? And are we getting any closer to, finding a final and lasting solution to the conflict that arose in the Okwama community?
The situation is made worse now by the death of the second person, because what they want, the people were not really complaining per se, because the governor promised and the governor started the projects in the community. But if you go back to the community, a lot of persons have returned and they are building small kiosks, small places, settlement for themselves. They are not really, they are trying to start their life back. Sometimes they go to the camp and come back to do their farming and other. They were still managing, until this debt issue is now what is causing problem, because the people are now saying that these people who are kidnapped, because I'm using the word kidnap because when you arrest somebody, definitely if you say you are doing investigation, you cannot tell me that from August to December they are yet to do investigation or to hand them to police to be charged to court. None of these persons has been charged to court. We were in court to get the bail application at the Federal High Court. The matter was supposed to come up on the 9th. On the a day before, a week before that day, Pagence is dead. So the people in the camp, they are angry. They want their people to be freed. That is the first thing they want. Their first demand is not food or anything. They want their people, who are my people, want their leaders to be released unconditionally. And even the corpse of those people who are late, they also want them. Nobody is telling them exactly what is happening to those people that have been detained. Nobody knows, apart from the few insider information we are getting about them. Nobody knows exactly what is happening to them. That is the core of the problem. That is the problem in the community. Even yesterday, we were in the community, and the youth are angry. The leaders are trying to press the garbage. The youth are saying they want to go and block that creek by themselves. Nobody will pass that place until federal government will tell them whether they are members of Nigeria, they are from Nigeria state, or they are from another country. That is the problem.
Mr. Ozo, please help us react to this. Being in detention from August to December does not paint a good picture. It's the one thing that Nigerians will complain about when we see people who have been detained for days and weeks, and it feels like the world, or maybe the country, may have abandoned the Okwama community. And if the country is not speaking about the Okwama community as much, Delta State government should not abandon the Okwama community. So why are these men still in detention? And why don't we have a conclusive investigation that can, even if people need to be charged to court, that they should be charged to court already? What is your response to that?
This is a security matter. And the security matter, the way it's being handled is not the way you think about it. The government of Delta State is making all effort to ensure that these people are being released. We are pained, we are not happy. The state is not happy at all. The government is not happy in what is happening. But there's a process. So let us allow that process to take its course. Then they will be released eventually.
Mr. Ozo, if we go back to actually this conflict that occurred, do we have a final information as to who carried out the raids on the Okwama community? Was it the army?
Who carried out what?
Who carried out the razing of buildings? Who set a number of those buildings on fire in Okwama community? Do we have final information now as to what exactly happened and who carried out, the actions there?
I cannot speak authoritatively on that. All to know that the place was razed down, but who raised it down, I cannot say.
All right. Let me ask. My question will be two parts. I'm going to start off first with Mr. Pokona. Let me start off with you first. Can you categorically tell us if the second death and the first one happened in the military custody? Was it in the Army's custody? We'd like you to clarify that before I ask my second question. Let's get that out of the way first.
Definitely by TVC, news. They were now arrested by News Central. It is the people who arrested them. They are in their custody and they are dead. They were not released. So if they are dead, two persons are dead. They died in their custody. I cited a medical report on Okubaye by the Bori from the Bori military division Bori. I cited it. The medical report that was signed on the 6th that the man should be released because of health condition and on a health grant on old age 81 that the man is above 80. I cited it. In that document, it is from the Bori camp. It is the 6th division in Rivers State. So if the man died, is it not there that he died? So we know that these people died in detention, not in any other place, because they were the people who arrested them today and have not charged them to court. They have not handed them to police. They are not in prison. They are in military custody. So if they die in military custody.
That's very sad to hear. Well, my second question is this, and I'd like it to be answered by the both of you gentlemen. Let me start off first with you again. The military had said they were going to set up a military panel of inquiry. I do recall that the Nigerian Bar Association said that it is illegal and unconstitutional because we're not running a military regime. Can you confirm to us if that military panel of inquiry was set up and whatever results that came out from it is the reason why we are where we are with this case? I'd like you to go ahead, Mr. Pokona, before I listen to the essay as well on this same issue of the military.
You see, if there's a problem between the Nigerian army and a community, alleged community, because there is no court that has said that it is Okwama people who killed the military. Okwama people were also killed in that encounter by the people who killed the police. And the CDS, the Chief of Defense Staff, obviously said in interviews that it has to do with oil, bunkering, whatever, and that Ahmad Beyin from Bayelsa was the person who did it. He said it. You people can go back and dig and you will see his statements. If these people, if the matter, you now know that it is a militant that did it, and you now come to raise a community, and you are now saying that you again, who raised the community, who is doing this one, you are also the person that we set up an inquiry. How will the people attend? That was why NBA said it is illegal because no man can be a judge in his own case. Rather, the federal government or the state government should set up a body of inquiry that we have will be shared by maybe retired justices who are impeccable. That they should set up an inquiry, a commission of inquiry to look into the matter. Today, nothing is done. It's only the military inquiry. They came to Delta State Government House Annex, and you expect the people to come there to give their own version of the story. And so I think they didn't attend, and I don't know what the outcome is. So that can never be. The federal government or the state must still set up an inquiry to know why did the military go to Okwama on that particular day. What happened? What were they looking for? Who killed them? Who killed the Okwama people? And those who raised the Okwama community, who arrested Okwama leaders, and that they are dying one by one. Today, out of the 6 people, 2 are gone, remaining 4, and nothing is happening. And everybody said they have not been charged to court anywhere. But it has never happened before. Are we not? Is Nigeria not a country ruled by law that people can just be picked up and kept somewhere for over 4 months? No charging to court, and we are saying we are paying. Now the people are, I'm telling you, the Okwama people and the Urobo people are ready to go to International Criminal Court to take the Nigerian government, the Nigerian army to International Criminal Court. So since the Nigerian army, they don't obey laws, we will go to the International Criminal Court. That's the next step to take.
All right, Mr. Uzo, let's talk about, let's have your response to this. Also, again, he's made some very strong points. Nigeria is not in a military, we're not running a military government. And it's not a good look, not just to Nigerians, but also to the international community, that the military can pick up civilians and just detain them. And I hear you when you say it's a security concern, but Nigerian citizens also have rights, and their rights should be respected. If an investigation, has been carried out, or if an investigation is still being carried out, shouldn't a proper way to go about it be allow the army conclude whatever investigation before they then make arrests and then charge people who need to be charged to court, rather than detaining them indefinitely? They're saying now that they're going to the ICC. What do you have to say in response to that?
Well, the army has their own thinking, and the laws of the land also has its own way. So, having looked at the whole issue, I think our advice is that the proper thing should be done. The proper thing should be done. The process should be followed.
What is the proper thing from your perspective? What is this proper thing that should be done and this proper process that should be followed?
The proper thing is that the people should be tried and if possibly charged to court.
But let me come in here as well. Why is it taking so long? I mean, from the responses that we've gotten and from the investigative journalism, in short, the reports from our correspondent, there seems to be a deep-seated feeling that the governor is not doing enough. I do understand that a letter was written to the senator representing the Ughelli South in Delta State on this issue to speak about it and also to write to the president. But after that statement was made, it seems to have fallen on deaf ears. Nothing is being done. Do you think that the governor is doing enough to help the people in that community? And do you think that putting a lot of weight on the president would also help in solving this problem? Can you answer to these questions?
Well, thank you very much. For you out there, that is the way you may be thinking. The governor has done a lot from onset. The governor met the NSA, met the chief of army staff, met the president over this issue. Like what I told you, it's a security concern. It's not a fire brigade issue. It's not a fire brigade issue.
But people are dying,
The governor is doing a lot. And even up till now, he's still doing his best to ensure that these people are being released.
Can you share with us some of the things? Can you share with us some of the things that the governor has done that can be considered as enough? At the end of the day, he's the governor of the Nigerian people, the Nigerian citizens. And if the citizens are complaining that they do not feel like he's doing enough, he has to answer to the Nigerian citizens. So please share with us what the governor has done.
The things the governor has done in terms of ensuring that these people are released is not what I will come to the open and begin to brief you. But the governor has done a lot. He has done enough, and he's still doing. He's doing
That's
enough
rhetoric.
to ensure that these people are released. You can see the narrative that has been put in place, all are from the governor, and so many other things that he's doing. But the issue of the things he's doing to show that he's doing enough is not what I will come here and begin to tell you. He's doing enough as far as we are concerned. He's doing enough, and he's still doing.
So that sounds like political rhetorics. When we are having conversation about what exactly the governor is doing, right? It's not something that should be shrouded in secrecy or something that should be hidden. From the get-go, when the situation with the Kwama community happened, the major complaint that they got was the response time that the governor had to this, his body language, how he hadn't even addressed it, not on his social media, not physically, not making a video. They complained that he did not address this early enough. So army officials were killed. Citizens in Delta State were killed.
That is not correct. That is not correct.
So please share the correct position.
This incident, no, that's not correct. This incident happened on 14th of March, 2024. And immediately it happened, the governor swung into action by going to the military base of that axis. From there, he went to Abuja to meet with the authorities. All these are the process he did. And when he came back, eventually, he moved the government team, people who are concerned with issues of this nature, including the army, to Kwama itself. That was done on 20th of April 2024. We were there. We visited there to see things ourselves. When he came back, he has to set up a committee that will mine the IDP. And the construction of the IDP was done. Food was supplied, members are putting in there to work on the IDP, to supervise what is happening there. These are the areas the governor has done. And in terms of release, getting these people free, he's working on it. It's a security matter. And security matters is not what will come to television to begin to announce. He's working on it, and I know by God's grace, they will be released. They will be released after the processes has been completed.
Okay, Mr. Ozo, I mean, there's a lot that I'm sure Nigerians would love to ask. You've said the governor has done a lot. I do recall that when this incident took place in March, we also had Barrister Fred Latimo join us here live, who's also an essay to the Governor Wurwuri as well. And he did speak about the governor not being allowed entrance into the community, and that took place for a while. Is it possible that we can get a closure to this situation? And can we get your words? Can you confirm to us that the people, the community, the lawyer who has equally joined us for the community can get a closure, maybe sometime next week, that would equally tell everyone, Nigerians, the people of Okwama, Deltans, that this is what we want to do going forward? Is it possible? Because when we say he's doing a lot and people are not really getting to hear of it, it kind of like speaks a volume that nothing is really done. Can we get a closure on this?
We may do that if that is what you want, but for now,
it's not what I want.
The governor is doing a lot. He's interested that these people are being released. He's interested that the people get their freedom. He's working on it. But you know, a security matter, it is not an easy task like that. There are a lot of investigations are going on. Don't forget that this incident that happened, the military rifles are yet to be found. So a lot of investigations are going on, and eventually they will come out with a position.
All right, finally, Chief, let's bring you in. What are the demands? I know you've clearly stated the demands, but do we have a timeline we're looking at? I believe Mr. Uzo can speak briefly on this. It's Christmas in 13 days. Are we hoping that, or are we expectant that these people will be able to be reunited with their families before Christmas? And if this doesn't happen, you know, if we're going to another year and they're still in detention, as a peace building and conflict resolution expert, how do you foresee that this will strain further relationship, you know, between the citizens in Okwama and its government? And that's to you, Mr. Uzo. And then to you, Chief, final question in a minute, you know, to talk about what the next steps will be to ensure that we can find lasting solution to this unfortunate scenario. But Mr. Uzo, you can start first.
Okay. I cannot speak authoritatively that they will be united before Christmas, but I know definitely they will be united soonest. I know that, but I can't speak authoritatively that they will reunite with their family before Christmas.
And if this doesn't happen, you know, before the end of the year, we're going to a new year with them still in detention. As the peace building and, you know, conflict resolution expert, how do you think that this will impact the relationship between Delta State citizens, Okwama citizens, the government, the army, especially with the 2 deaths that have occurred of their leaders in detention?
Yes, we are aware. We are aware of the disturbances and the hardship the thing has caused. Nobody is happy over it. But we cannot speak authoritatively that they will rejoin with their family before the end of the year. But definitely they will rejoin with their family after all investigations have been done. They are working on it, and it will come to pass. We'll just plead with them to be patient. We are not happy. Nobody is happy with the situation there, because they are human beings also. We know they are suffering. We know they are not comfortable, but they have to be patient. They have to be patient with the security agent so that all things will come and pass.
All right, Chief, and your turn, you know, in response to the question I asked.
Let me clear you. So if something happens in March, after March, around August, people were arrested, and this is December, and we are hearing that we are working, things are working. Only you should judge. You will be able to judge how effective is this our working is. I will leave that as at that. But you know, the fear we had at the beginning, when these people were arrested, we knew that some of them might not even come back alive, because there is a kind of conspiracy from home. When I say home, from Delta State here and other, concluding already that is pinning Okwama community to have committed that crime. They are negating the statement made, categorical statement of the chief of the defense, who said that the people, it is Amagbein and his boys that did this killing. They are not thinking about that one. All they want is that they think in their mind. That is why they are behaving this manner, is that it is Okwama people who kill the people. So if they kill the people, they should be left to whatever fate that before them. That is what the people are suffering. Well, there is sadness in the community. There is sadness in the community. The people, women, they are angry because they know they are going to do the Christmas without receiving these people. We were supposed to be in court on the 9th for the bail application, because we were told to move to put the army on notice. And incidentally, the Federal High Court is on vacation for Christmas. So there is nothing we can do now on the aspect of the court. Definitely from the aspect of the court to move any motion for their bail, whatever, is going to be next year. And now the people are dying. Within the space of between Wednesday to Tuesday, 2 people are dead. How many more? According to the question posed by Professor Patrick Mobogare, who is the next person to die? Who will be the next person now to die? And you know, we are working. Yes, they are working. They are working, and nothing is coming out. There is no tangible thing for the people to say, okay, this is what we are doing exactly, and this is how we are moving. It was at this Senator Ned Nwoko or so, you saw how he moved when the king was arrested, and at the end of the day, they released the king. But apart from that tangible effort, how many tangible efforts are we seeing as to this Okwama issue? Let us set up what really happened. What were the army doing? All this army congregating for a supposed peace mission, and the police were not aware, the government were not aware, the community were not aware that the army are going on a peace mission. Nobody's talking about that one. They just conclude that Okwama people killed army. It is not so. It is a court that can say these are the people who killed the army first before we cannot begin to say, okay, these are the culprits who did it. You just pick up leaders who don't stay in Okwama. These people we are talking about now that are dying, they don't stay in the community. They're just that they are community leaders. So if anything happens in their community, you arrest them and you kidnap them, because it is not arrest. You pick them up and you start to kill them in your detention. And somehow you think the people are happy.
Okay, Mr.
So that is why the people are thinking of going to ICC. That is the only way.
All right, Chief Abokona,
the army is not responding. The only option is to go to ICC.
All right, Chief Abokona, we want to, first of all, share our condolences to you and, of course, to the community. We understand how you really feel. It's very painful. And we recall that here at News Central, we were neither not happy with the fact that 17 army soldiers, rather, were killed as well. It's quite sad. But we're wrapping up this conversation. I want to thank you. I just want to get just a yes or no from you. Have the Okwama community been able to retrieve the bodies of these 2 persons?
No. It's a no. And no information whatsoever. No information whatsoever as to where the corpses are. But it's only background information that the family got, that Ogoroko was taken to a morgue in River State after his death. But for the Dennis, we don't know whether they also took it to the same morgue, but we don't know. And no communication to the family or to anybody.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. And we hope to revisit this story again. Hopefully by then, Mr. Uzo, you would have an update for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anyway, let's also tell you that Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs has called for a joint and collaborative effort by ECOWAS member states to tackle insecurity, terrorism, and transnational crime. Now, this was during the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council ministerial level meeting at the headquarters of the ECOWAS Commission in Abuja, where the minister, who is also the chair of the council, expressed worry at the escalating threats of terrorism, violent extremism, and transnational organized crime being witnessed by member states.
Threats of terrorism, violent extremism, and transnational organized crime pose a shared burden that no single country can confront alone. These challenges underscore the necessity of collective action and regional cooperation. As the ECOWAS Regional Action Plan on the fight against terrorism concludes this year, this meeting offers a critical opportunity to chart a forward-looking strategy to bolster our collective security architecture and sustain the momentum in addressing these threats.
Well, that's an update, and we hope that this will also yield positive results. Well, let's quickly bring you a recap of some of the major stories we've had for this hour. This hour, outrage in Okwama as second community leader dies in custody. Omagige welcomes Ibori Suenu, thousands of others to APC. And we also talked about the bank workers blaming CBN for cash shortage, and that's a conversation we also look forward to have in the second hour as well.
Coming up next, justice for Folakemi. News Central reveals true story in rape case. The newspaper front pages will be reviewed. We'll get your thoughts on this as well when we open the phone lines. What Nigerians are saying coming up as well. Stay tuned.
We're also watching Breakfast Central here on News Central. We are back. Well, today we do have a special, so we would have to put breaks to the front pages of the newspapers. We'll bring it later on in the course of the second hour. But earlier in the week, we brought you an investigative piece about a lady who had been raped and left to survive the consequences of the rape all by herself. The report you watched on Tuesday, just in case you did, at 8:30 p.m. is one of our special investigative series which follows the story of Folakemi Ogunsusi, a young aspiring event manager and teacher who was drugged, raped, and impregnated by her colleague. After coping with such a traumatic experience and living with it in survival mode since 2022, is there any hope for Folakemi to really heal and move past this part of her life? Well, I'm glad to let you see a snippet of this investigative journalism piece, and when I come back, I will do the honors, because we do have Folakemi in the studio, and of course, we do have Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi. So stay with us and take a look at this clip. Well, I'm sure you were able to see that video as well when it was aired here on News Central. But a very touching situation we do have with us here live. This morning, we have Folakemi Ogunsusi herself and a lawyer, Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi. They join us live in the studios. Thank you so much for being here. And first of all, let me say, Folakemi, you've gone through a whole lot. And while watching that video, one could only imagine what it would lead to in terms of your mental strength. And we want to say our sincere apologies for what you've really gone through. It's really a tough one. It's really tough on you. I mean, thank you as well, Barrister, for following this up. Our conversation would like to explore on different aspects of what's really happening now, dwelling less more on what really happened in the past, because the video had covered all of that. But can you quickly share with us, Folakemi, what steps you've taken to heal? So far, so good.
All right, thank you for having me on the show. After my daughter's death, so I tried to seek the help of a therapist, because coupled with everything and the trauma, because right before I met Barrister Olumide, I could not deal with it. I was always aggressive on everybody around me because I feel unsafe. So then after my daughter's death, I don't know the next step to do, not until someone was like, you need to heal, you need to talk to someone, you need to let it out. So I was like, I need the help of a therapist. So I started the therapy section on Monday. Yeah.
This Monday?
Yeah, this Monday. So I just started it. So it has to take me back through from the past. Now, like, we are still in the middle of it.
And I mean, I applaud you for, choosing to follow the journey and healing. And I know that healing is not an overnight journey. It will take time. I'll come back to speak with you, but let's bring in your lawyer. How did you get in contact with, Folakemi? How did you get to know of her case? And why, did you pursue it this far?
I think she got my number from someone and called me last year, I think. And when she told me her story, I run a foundation called the Gnosis Help Initiative. We help victims of domestic violence and abuse, child abuse, and I'm also on the radio on Saturday, so I think the person got my contact, and we tried to now pursue the case when we saw that she had some evidence from text messages where she accused him. And, we have realized over time that the silence about the matter, the stigma where the woman internalizes, doesn't speak out, is what actually kills. Last year we lost about 9 women who committed suicide because there was no one to talk to. People would start asking you, okay, what did you go and do there? What did you wear? So it was as if they blame women for their own. So we decided to take on the case. Unfortunately, there was a place of jurisdiction. It happened in Ota. We are in Lagos State. So the police in Lagos cannot really go and operate there without the permission of the Commissioner of Police there. So we used the state CID. We investigated, and there was some investigative work there, and we finally had him arrested. But at that time, the child, that was after 2.5 years, yeah. The child was always in a state of crisis, difficulty to breathe. She was 2 years, but when you saw her, she looked like 6 months because she didn't fully develop. The case is being handled at the state CID here, Apansi. He was locked up, and she spoke out. She had that chance to confront her abuser, which a lot of people don't. But unfortunately, the child fell into a very deep crisis, and we lost her. And now we are faced with the mother, so that we don't lose her too.
Right.
Because of that trauma. So.
And I'm glad that you're following up with the story and helping her get the necessary help. Folakemi, when you confronted your abuser, what was it like?
I felt like slapping him, like holding him on the neck, because it was so, I was bitter, and I felt this range of anger in me. So at a point I stood up, I wanted to slap him. So one of the officers was like, I should just calm down. And just let him be. So I just had to hold myself and just be at peace.
I think the part that really upset me the most was when he said, if you say that I'm responsible for this, then I'm sorry. When you watched that, how did you feel?
I was so angry that, okay, because it wasn't apologetic. He wasn't saying it from the place of, maybe, yes, it was genuine. So I was like, okay, this guy doesn't even know the graffiti of whatever it is that is on ground. So I just looked at it that, no, this guy needs to go to jail, because it doesn't, like, I looked at it that there are so many of him out there, and maybe that's not even his first time. Yeah. So because he's not saying it from the place of, oh, yeah, I'm truly sorry. He just said it, oh, let me just say it and let everything end. Yeah.
But for the benefit of those who are watching now who may have missed out on the documentary, by the way, we're going to air the documentary one more time. Later today, we'll share the timing with you. But Folakemi, can you give us a background, how you met this person? Was he a trusted friend? And what were some of the loopholes that you may have seen or that happened without your knowledge?
Okay, we both work in a school. We are colleagues. So I was a teacher and also an event planner. So, but the side of event planning that I chose more was surprise aspects, because I'm a teacher and a student, so I don't want to venture into it more. So it deals with graphics. So he helps me with my graphic design, designed throw pillow frames, and his work, it was even the one that designed my what's it called, logo. So I loved his work and everything. So over the years, he has been the one helping me out. So every job I get from every client, I give it to him. So the last job I got was this last one. He didn't deliver it. I had to go to his house. I called him. I had to go to his house to, like, okay, I need this job because I'll have to deliver early in the morning so that I'll have to get to school. So I'll go out in the morning like 6, get to school like 6:45. I'll leave the rest of the team to handle the work. So this one, he didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't know why he didn't deliver it to me in school. So I have to go to his house. Getting to his house, it was his mom that opened the gate for me. So later on, I didn't say his mom. He offered me a drink. I said no. He was telling me I was angry, stuff like that. He went ahead, he got the drink, Fanta. And I took it. After some minutes, like 5 minutes, I just felt my whole body was numb. I could not. So I found myself on his bed. I was unconscious and at the same time not totally unconscious. And I saw someone taking advantage of me. I was helpless, trying to beg that, oh, please don't do this. But at that point, I think, yeah, he had his way. So I confronted him, telling him that, oh, yeah, you raped me, or did you do anything? He denied. Not until after a month, I called him that, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant. Because I have someone I was dating, but the person was not in town. He wasn't staying around. So he was like, if I'm pregnant. So that was when it came to me that it had to dawn on me that, oh, yeah, you really raped me or you slept with me the last time. He said, I should do whatever it is my fellow ladies are doing. That was the response he gave to me. So for 9 months, throughout those periods, I was just doing it all by myself because he kept on threatening me in school.
What was he saying to you when he was threatening you?
So he was telling me that if I should say anything or try to make any more moves, that nobody will hear about me. Yeah. It's because he realized that, oh, I have no one to come and fight for me. I'm the only one staying there. He hasn't seen any family member coming around or anything. So he felt that, yeah, so if he ends it, that it will be a silent stuff, so nobody will hear it.
Wow. Anyway, there's more to this story, and we have it documented live. You know, we have a documentary that has aired. It aired yesterday or 2 days ago at 8:30 p.m. and would let you know further times that it will air. We'd also share it on our YouTube channel. But you mentioned that you were in a relationship at the time that he raped you. How did your partner react to this?
Okay, when I told him that I was raped, it was like, how come? I have warned you not to work in the night. I said, no, it's like someone close. So I didn't tell him direct that it was this colleague of mine. So later on, he said, I'm suspecting it's Olamide. But he was not in Lagos. So it was just like, for that period, when he now found out that I was pregnant, it was just like, okay, let him just act along. But the day I gave birth, everything just went south.
So he abandoned you?
Yeah. So it was like, because at a point, people thought that, oh, he's the father of the child, because that's the only person they know me with. So it was like, people were calling him, congratulations, you didn't even tell us that you're engaged with Folakemi and you guys are now pregnant, you're expecting a child. It just kept quiet. So the day I gave birth, he just called everybody. I'm not the father of the child. Folakemi was raped.
My goodness.
Yeah. So I felt like, wow, you're not mature enough to handle this, right? Because everybody, that was when I knew that it was so shameful, and I felt like, no, this is someone I trusted with this story. And I felt, okay, at a point you should have protected me, even if you wanted to end the relationship, not for you to... He sent one of his pastors to come and check me in the hospital, and the pastor called him back and said, yeah, she's fine. I said, it's of no use. So I called back, hearing the story up and down in the neighborhood. People were calling, because immediately because of that, my sister had to come in and said, okay, I'm no more staying in Ota. I should just come down to Lagos, because they don't know what will come out of it.
Where did this happen? What state? For the benefit of our viewers.
Oh, it happened in Ota.
Ota. Okay,
Ogun
fine.
State.
All
Yeah.
right. Are your parents, which member of your family is around today?
None.
None of them. Okay. But do you have any sibling, any sister or brother who's
Yeah, my sister I stayed with.
in Lagos?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just the both of you.
With her husband.
With her husband. Okay. So they've been there for you, trying to ensure up until now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good. You also mentioned that he had his own mother then. Any word from his family?
Throughout the whole situation, his family didn't come through, because the day I gave birth, they called him. He said he doesn't want the child. He insulted the people that called him in the hospital, stuff like that. So there was a point they asked
The
him.
audacity for me.
Yeah. So there was a point a friend of mine that stayed with me in the hospital called him that, oh, Folake lost a lot of blood because she gave birth through CS, and I know you're the father of this child. We need money. So he said he doesn't have money. So they gave him time, like 3 days or 4 days after I've given birth. One of the neighbors that I stayed with had to call him that, do you know you are very, very stupid? That you impregnated a woman out of her home bill and you are still like, no. He said he wanted to do wedding. Yeah, that
With who?
With a friend, with one of my friends.
And was this your friend aware that he raped you?
Yes, she was aware.
And she was going ahead to marry him?
Yeah,
My
she went
goodness.
ahead to marry him.
And they're married now?
Yeah, they're married.
Okay, let's talk about this young man, where he is, because I'm sure that for the benefit of our audience who are yet to see the documentary, people are probably boiling now. So I'll bring in your lawyer. So talk to us about him. I know that he was arrested, but where is he now?
He was arrested and detained. However, he started having health crisis there. He's not of sound health, so he had to be released on bail because of health reasons. Now, some things she did not specifically, first of all, she's an orphan. That's why when you asked for family, so she had been almost all her entire life by herself. And the family of the suspect who raped her was not aware. He did not tell them. So it was last week that his father just found out that he had a granddaughter at the station. So the father was just staring like all this had been happening for 2 years. The mother said she didn't know, members of the family. He had isolated everybody. He didn't tell anybody until after the passing of the child, which furthermore infuriated me, because this child had been, the first time we met her, the child was in crisis. Our organization had to step in because, the child would be on oxygen for probably a month. In last of oxygen per day is 24,000. So she couldn't have a job because no one would take care of that child, no nanny, no home, because it's a hole in the heart. The breathing, I'm sure in the documentary you would hear the breathing. So everyone was rather scared of taking responsibility. So she's not been able to work ever since. She's not been able to go to school. Her life had been on hold for 2.5 years, and the gentleman went ahead, married her friend, and, they have their own child, and, he totally isolated. The wife knew, because we have recorded conversations before, and after she even had, the conversation had come up before the wedding, and that was where the gentleman, and he's someone who he claimed to be a father figure, came to threaten her that, listen, he wants to get married, or don't use your own to spoil his journey in life and all that. So she had to leave Ota and come to Lagos, where she tried to get a job, but everywhere she dropped the child, less than an hour, they would call her back. And so now the major issue here is the prosecution, which might, in Nigeria, to prove rape, I've been around for 22 years now, more or less, and in my 22 years, I've seen less than 15 convictions of rape. It is the most difficult to prove, and you have also the issue of jurisdiction. It happened in another state. We had to come through where she was staying. We can't take her back to the incident because of the health of the child, and so it is pending, and the gentleman is claiming some health crisis, but the death of the child really took a toll on the entire case, because of what use is taking a mother to court where she cannot speak. The trauma of the child, you put the picture of the child to show, is it, what DNA, what you want to do at that time. So we are concentrating on her getting better, and thank God for her courage. So other women going through this, because either tradition or religion would make you quiet. Maybe her courage will let other people speak up, and then let organizations or people know, and people try to intervene, have the suspect arrested, and teach them. There are ways, there are steps which you can, in cases of rape, which must be that same day. Instead of going home to have a bath, instead of keeping quiet, it is very important that very day to make that report. And that is why we go from secondary schools now, free of charge, to raise awareness against domestic violence and abuse and sexual-based violence against both male and female, because believe it, men are also sexually abused, boys. In fact, 1 in every 7 boys will be sexually harassed, abused before the age of 10. But they don't know what is going on. So how to identify sexual abuse, especially in our children, and what to do. What we are hoping is that people will connect to her story, and with her bravery, come out to confront. The day she confronted the gentleman in the office, you could see 2
Can we
years.
even be referring to him with his name?
His name?
Yes, okay. Let's keep referring to him with his name. Yes.
The day she confronted him at the office, at the state CID. You could see 2.5 years of silence, 2.5 years of swallowing every reaction, swallowing all the bills. There are times that she can't even afford what that the hospital might just try to write off a little because they see that she cannot afford. She's been to various places, the Heart Foundation here to see if they could, 2.5 years of running around, her life was totally, no relationships, no family connection, nothing. But they got squatting because, of course, she can't even afford rent. She's not working. So you could see her eventually let out. And after that day, we were outside and I said, how do you feel? She said, I feel light. Yeah. Because finally she was able to say. And that is one thing we need to do, confront your abuser. They always threaten, I will kill you. If it's
bullies and cowards.
And it is a result of fear.
Yeah.
They are afraid. Yeah. And the way, the bravado, the arrogance is a cover for fear. Because just one word could, it's life imprisonment for rape.
I want you to quickly go back quickly as you can to talk about the steps people need to take. I know you said as soon as they finish as soon as the rape has occurred, the first thing is not to run home.
Go to the nearest police station.
All right.
Go to the nearest police station. There are times, a lot of times in rapes, a man doesn't have time to put on protection. So there are things like you might have seminal fluid on you. The way you are, the police need to see it, take pictures, take videos, go to the scene of the crime. Hopefully there might be 1 or 2 persons, maybe a security guard. They must have passed somebody who would confirm that this person was there. They were together in that room or she ran out. Once you have that corroboration that someone was able to identify, but when you leave, the scene of crime changes. The people that were there have gone.
Okay.
You understand?
Then what about hospitals? I know that there's also a specificity with, the kind of hospital, maybe government hospitals in terms of the assessment. Is that something to consider?
Yes. Courtrooms, the judicial system tend to favor public hospitals because it is more difficult to manipulate results. Private hospitals, probably if you know the doctor, you could tell them to write something. And you also have to protect men from victimization. I mean, some people, because they want to get something from a man, they just say, he raped me.
Yes.
So you also have to protect the men from unfair accusations. So there is more state-owned and government hospitals will be preferred. And then there are places like WARIF, Women at Risk Foundation. There's
Mirabel Foundation.
Mirabel Foundations, which at times some of them have these rape kits, and they're able to also medically corroborate your claim. Passage of time is always against the women. Has happened 2.5 years ago. We're arresting now. A judge will be like, why wait? Passage of time is always a problem. Women don't talk 6 months after, 10 months after. Everything, you just need 24 hours for a scene of crime to completely change. So you need to speak up, tell somebody. And please don't just tell anybody. At times you tell people that will worsen your situation.
Absolutely.
As a Christian, what were you looking for there? What were you wearing? Maybe it is what you were wearing that end. Now, and that further drives the woman back. Whatever she was looking for, was she looking for rape? So when you say, what was she looking for? Was she looking for rape? So those are steps that people should
consider. Thank you so much for breaking it down, especially for our viewers. Fulakemi, he's spoken deeply on your courage, and for us back here, even for my investigative journalist, Marshall, he also had spoken about how strong a woman you are, that you've been able to push the boundaries, and we do understand that you may have your downtime sometimes, and then when you're back up, you're back up. If I may ask, what was the name you gave to your daughter before her passing?
I gave her Grace Muferoluwa. Yeah. So, and I felt Grace as always spoken for her. Yeah. Then I gave her Muferoluwa because I believe she's a gift from God. Even at the initial stage, I don't want to accept that gift. It was difficult for me because I wasn't ready mentally, physically. All my focus was for me to get successful in life, build my brand to something. Yeah. A child, as a child who doesn't have anybody to support, all I could do is just to work and get myself something and someone to be proud of. So, yeah. So I also gave her Benis, yeah, meaning bringer of victory. So recently, when I reflected on the whole story, I was asking myself that, is this the victory? No, I didn't want it this way. And my sister was telling me that it might not reflect now, maybe later in future. So because the day she was diagnosed with hole in the heart, that was November 2022, I ran out of the hospital. Immediately, I ran out of the hospital. That was Randall General Hospital. I ran to the street. I was not even looking out if the car was going to hit me. So I remember that I was trying to put a call through to my sister that, okay, this is what the doctors were saying, because she was running a heart rate of 300 and something.
Wow.
And heart failure, everything. So I didn't even listen to them. I just ran out of the hospital, and I noticed two men just held me that, ma, you want to go and kill yourself. So I was just telling my sister on the phone I wanted to die. But everything was just too much. So I drew my courage and strength from her. Because despite all the pain, she was always smiling.
She was a fighter.
Yeah.
Folakemi, you've been through so much, but you've taken the lemons that life has thrown at you, and every day you're finding different ways to make lemonade of it. What will support mean to you in this season? How can people show up for you?
Yeah, I'm still a student, and I'm also trying to build my business back, because ever since the incident happened, I will not mention to anybody I'm an event planner, neither am I doing surprise, because fear of going back and believing that this might happen again. Yeah. So I restricted myself. So I hardly bake cake or things I loved doing before. So support, as much as I want, not for me alone. Also, Grace might be dead, but there are so many kids out there that need help. So I thought about it, yeah, even whatever help I can get to be able to finish through school, and also to be able to be somebody in life, and also for me to also help other ladies and kids out there.
All right. So what level are you in school now?
300 level.
What are you studying?
International Relations.
Beautiful. Where?
A National Open University.
All right. So you have how many years to go?
Just 1 year.
1 year. So you need help to go through the final year of your school and then your business. And I'm hoping that well-meaning Nigerians who are watching can reach out to us here at New Central. We'll be happy to help make a connection so that you can be a support to keep, Folakemi moving and help her to heal past the trauma. I just want to say to you that you're so brave and you're courageous. And as a woman, I'm incredibly proud of you for how you're giving other women a voice. I've been able to speak with a number of women, and there's some who haven't had the courage to share, not just because of the societal stigma, but also just being able to relieve the trauma every day. It's a battle, and every day you're fighting. So victory might not have come in the way that you expected, but for every day that you show up as yourself, you show up sharing your story, you're being victorious. Okay?
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Do you have friends?
I just have one.
Would you like to make more friends?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make an offer to you after the show. Maybe we'd like to host you and a number of women for Christmas if it's something that you're open to.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Folakemi, for sharing your story with us, with the world. And thank you so much to our lawyer.
Thank you.
We have legal practitioner and convener of Genesis Help Initiative, Olumide Kayode Omosibi. Thank you for the work that you've done for her and for several other women, giving them a voice. She said why she didn't talk about it was that she felt helpless initially, but you've given her courage to fight and you've amplified her voice. She wouldn't be here today sharing the story with the world if you didn't help. So thank you. For people who may be in similar situations, you know, I want to reach out to your organization. How can they do that? And for people who want to even support your organization with the work that you're doing, how can they reach out?
Thank you very much. Probably I give a number or
Go ahead.
reach out
Go ahead,
to me
please.
directly. That would be 0909 3214942. 0909 3214942. What we do basically is to be a voice and to stand in intervention, prosecution of victims of domestic violence and abuse, which includes things like this rape, and then child abuse, which includes defilement, those that sexually molest children or commit crimes against people under the age of 18.
All right, so I'll just take the number again very quickly. It's 0909 3214942, right?
Yes.
That's 0909 3214942. The name again, please?
Olumide Kayode.
Olumide Kayode. So please, any well-meaning Nigerian who feels that this is the time to take Folakemi to another place where she would indeed find peace, calmness, and also kickstart her future again, please feel free to reach out to us here at News Central. And better still, you can also reach out to the lawyer as well, who has done a great job. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a conversation that I'm sure a lot of persons watching today, there's someone watching today who has been in your shoes as well, and I'm sure that person is inspired right now to come out and speak. It's because they've seen your courage, they've seen the power that you've put forth to ensure that you help alleviate and also speak to those who are equally going through the same thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're sure that the sky is beyond your limit. Trust. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we've come to the end of today's show. It's bittersweet, really, but we hope that you can be a part of Folakemi's journey to finding herself again, and also collaborate with Genos's initiative to continue doing the work, because whether we like it or not, gender-based violence is an ongoing conversation, and the more we talk about it, the less the likelihood of it reoccurring. All right, so thank you very much for joining us. As we wrap up the show today, let's share with you what's happening later today. Later today on News Central, we have 10 a.m. West African time. Join us for Jasiri. At 12 p.m. West African time, we have News Central Now. And 10 p.m. West African time tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again same time on oh, what did I say Monday? Just felt like I've come to
You're just trying to run away.
My goodness.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back same time tomorrow 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. But we will, of course, ask that you follow us on all social media platforms at News Central TV, as we will then share with you when you can catch up with Folakemi's documentary. Thank you to Marshall Onoye, our investigative journalist, who also followed up with the story as well.
Absolutely.
Until we see you again, I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Stay safe and stay with us. More coming your way here on News Central.